So just to give you a little bit, or an introduction, I guess, to myself, my name is Paul Savoie. I'm a holistic life coach. What I do is to give people, I guess, empower them in order to live the life that they truly want to live. My background, I've done quite a bit of coaching. Since 2001, I've been doing coaching in more of the corporate world, but lately it's more onto my own personal business as well. From there, I do have my holistic nutrition health coach certification that I do have, and from there, yes, I've been practicing from a physical standpoint of view and also from a mental and emotional standpoint. So the talk today was basically about how to put yourself in the driver's seat of your life. A lot of people, what we do is we live the life that we feel. I feel like I'm echoing a lot here. There we go. So I feel that a lot of people, they live the life that that the social aspect, or that they feel that they should be living, as opposed to being true to themselves. How does one actually center themselves in order to live the life that they truly feel that they should be living? The big question that I typically ask my clients is, it's a loaded question, a lot of times they can't even answer it right away, but this is what it is. I look at 4 components. I look at your career-wise, I look at the relationships that you have in your life. I also look at your physical activity and also spirituality. So if we take career, for example, if you could have any career in your life, there's no restrictions, nothing at all, what would that career of choice be? A lot of times people can't answer that question because they just go with what they think is the proper career path, but they don't really listen to their inner self. So when you start looking at your life from that perspective of, okay, if I had no limitations at all, where would I be? Am I happy with the situation that I'm currently in? Or what would I be doing differently? When you start thinking in that mentality, it's a big shift. And a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that's where I come into play, and I empower you to start living like that. Why do people fall in the what they feel they should be doing? It's easy. Society is just that's what it is. You're going to be somewhat going against the current because that's just it's not your typical way of thinking. But if you can center yourself and actually start looking at removing some of the barriers that you've put to cover your true self, then you're actually able to live the life that you wanted to, that you've been set to live. So that's pretty much what it is that I do as a health coach. I'm there to support you, and then I also provide the balance. So like I said, I look at your career aspect, I look at your relationships, I look at physical activity, and I look also at spirituality. Spirituality, basically, it is to yourself. It's for you to establish what works for you. And the other components, I help coach you in that aspect. For myself, my journey, I've lost over 70 pounds. I've been there before. I know what it's like. And at the beginning, I did focus a lot more on the nutrition, sorry, not the nutrition, but the physical activity aspect of it. But until you're able to center yourself, you're not going to balance it, because when you're not balanced, you're putting too much energy on one component of your life as opposed to the central aspect. And in the middle of that is nutrition. So when you're balanced in the components of, say, your career, your relationship, and physical activity, and also spirituality, the nutrition component of it just kind of comes together with you, and you're fueling your body so that you're fueling it so that it's responding in a positive manner to move forward. So to put yourself in the driver's seat is really about kind of taking the time to take a step back and analyze the situation. A lot of times when you're in a situation, you're in the moment, it's a heated situation or whatnot, and you're making decisions based on what you think you should be doing as opposed to what really works for you, what's best for you. When you're able to kind of take a step back and actually analyze the situation from a different perspective and then move forward, you're listening to yourself, you're listening to your inner self, and then from there you're able to move forward. A lot of times there's more than one side to the story, and it's just about finding the middle ground. At any point in time too, if you have any questions, or if I'm okay with just having a conversation as well between the group here, so it doesn't always have to be just myself speaking, but if you have any questions, by all means, let me know. In the corporate world, that's basically, I have that as well, where I'm looking at situations from a different perspective, and then after that, you're moving forward to find the true issue and then go on. As a life coach, it's so important to look at yourself from more than one dimension. We're more than just physical beings here. We are. You need to look at yourself from all of the components. And like I said before, if you were to ask your question, what can I do that is going to be, that I would be true to myself, as opposed to just going through the range or the motions of this is what I think I should be doing. Social influences are very, very quite large, I guess, and that's where you need to look at yourself and say, okay, what is it that I truly want to do? To put yourself in the driver's seat, as I've mentioned before, what does it mean? A lot of times people just put themselves in the passenger seat, so you're just kind of going along with the ride. And some people that's okay, but to be true to yourself and to really live your life passionately, you need to put yourself in the driver's seat. And what does it mean to be in the driver's seat? Well, it's just that. It's basically being in charge of your life. And there are, we all carry our own baggage, our own responsibilities that we need to carry on. But there's a way of dealing with it in a manner that you are going to be in charge of what it is that you truly want. When you look at it from a perspective of, if I could have any, again, I'll go back to the career component of it. If I could be in any career with no limitations, don't look at the education component. Don't look at what people are saying you should be doing. Just really think about yourself, really ground yourself, and ask yourself that question. You will get the answers. So it's about just really getting in the zone, getting in the zen of who you truly are. Same thing with relationships. Relationships, you can have some toxic ones, but you can also have some very positive ones. It's about looking at life and cherishing the positive relationships that you have. Some relationships we can't necessarily choose, I guess, to be in, but some of them you can choose when you're going to interact in those maybe more negative relationships. Sometimes it is what it is. You meet different people throughout your life. Sometimes they're meant to be there for your entire life, but sometimes it's just there for a shorter period of time. And whether it's a short period of time or if it's a long period of time, it's up to you to cherish that time that you did have with them. And say if you do have some more negative people that are kind of in your surroundings or whatnot, it's not necessarily about putting them on the sideline, but it's about really owning yourself and knowing where you're at, and then being able to interact with them in a way that it's not going to bring yourself down. Because a lot of times the energy that you are surrounding yourself with will automatically bring yourself in that same boat, and you want to try to remove yourself from those negative from that negative aspect. So it's really about looking at it from that perspective. It's about grounding yourself. It's about being true to yourself. Sometimes that's really hard, but it's really about taking the time to analyze who you truly are and where it is that you want to be. What is the vision? What's your life vision? What's your life mission? Where do you see yourself? Where would you like to be? Are you there? Are you on the right path? Have you taken a slight detour? Those are the types of questions that you should be asking yourself and really kind of analyzing your current state, and then being able to set some steps or some goals in order to move forward. When I talk about setting life goals, it's basically about setting some long-term goals, but also some short-term goals. For example, when I decided to return back to school, in order to, at the end of the day, what I wanted was the degree, but that's, when you're doing it part-time, it's kind of a lot of, it's a little nerve-wracking. So I was lucky that I was able to get into some certification programs, and that kind of shortened, or not shortened, but I guess it made the steps not so big. So I had 4 certificates, and it brought me right up to my degree. So it's kind of looking at it from that perspective. When you have shorter goals, but it's all aligning with your bigger goal of life. So it's kind of looking at it from that perspective. You want to be fully engaged, and you want to be in a position where you're enjoying your life. And if you were to look back, then you're going to say, yes, that was a great moment. I enjoyed it. Now I was there. Now I'm here. Self-reflection is also a big component of when you're being true to yourself, when you're looking at yourself. A lot of times we don't take the time to really look at where we were before and then where we are now. We're so busy with life that you don't take the time to appreciate where you were and the growth that you have taken or that you've experienced. The thing is you want to continue on that growth path. You don't want to bring yourself back to where you were before. You want to continue going. And that's the importance of setting goals and setting life goals and having some smaller goals, but also some long-term goals. So that's pretty much what it is that I do. It's a lot of, like I said, I'm a true believer in goal setting. If you're not setting goals in life, if you're not creating your mission, if you're not creating your vision of your life, it can be, you will probably easily fall off track of where you should be. And you need to be on track. You need to be in charge of your life. And that's what I meant by today by saying that you need to be in charge. Who wants to be in the driver's seat of their own life? Because like I said, a lot of times you're just based on the social expectations. We don't necessarily look at ourselves, we're not true to ourselves, and we go into the passenger seat and somebody else is driving for us. And at the end of the day, that's not what, we're meant to be. More than that, we're meant to be in the driver's seat of our lives. So is there any questions or any comments out in the audience here? Am I on time? Where am I at?
You're good.
I'm good? Okay. So I guess I'll share a little bit about where I was. I said earlier that I lost about 70 pounds myself. And in the beginning of my journey, when I lost the 70 pounds, it was all about the physical component of it. I didn't balance myself at all. What happens is that you become, it's unsustainable. If you put too much energy in one component of your life, you're not balancing yourself anymore, and it's too hard on your body, on you, and you end up it's not sustainable. So I did that for quite a bit. I actually competed in some fitness competitions. So I did that for about 2 years, and then I realized that what I was doing, I was focusing way too much energy on one aspect of my life, and I needed to balance that out. So that's where I kind of stepped back a bit from what it is that I was doing and looked at all of the components of my life. So that's where you look at your career, that's when you look at the relationships and building healthy relationships. At the end of the day, what I want you to do, or to take from this, is to build healthy relationships with your career, with the friends and family that you do have. You want that to be a healthy relationship. You also want to build a healthy relationship with physical activity. So whether it's going out for a walk, whether it's going to the gym, some sort of group fitness, whatnot, it's up to you to decide what works for you. Spirituality as well. I want you to build a healthy relationship with spirituality, because we are more than just physical beings. So it's about looking at it from that perspective. At the end of the day, it's building healthy relationships with all four components that I touch base on, and in the middle of that is nutrition. When you're able to fuel your body with the right nutrition, the right foods, you will have the energy in order to provide that balance that you're seeking. So yeah, that's good. All right. Well, thank you. Spirituality. Basically, it's whatever what you are, what you're open to. It's about looking at your body as we're more than physical beings, and whether that is, it's really up to you to decide. I'm not here to say you should be doing this or you should be doing that. It's about grounding yourself and finding what you truly relate to, and then following that kind of practice. Or sometimes it's about building your own spirituality as well. It's not necessarily about going somewhere and saying that this is what you want to do. I believe that there's more to the world and more to us than just where we're here, and obviously there is, but it's just a matter of tapping into those resources and asking for the guidance. When you're able to ground yourself and you're able to truly listen to the messages that you're receiving, it's kind of like it's living life that way, as opposed to just being here physically. So, yeah. Any other questions?
very much, Paul.
Thank
for,
you.
The beautiful presentation.